Hi, good afternoon. It is. I'm just looking at my date stamp on my laptop. It is the 4th of November 2019, which means tomorrow is bonfire night. Now, there's been a lot of things out there as to what could we do with pumpkins. Now, on Monday, I'm going to be starting a new blog, and it's all about porridge. So I've just recently been going through this book. And so I'm going to do a quick post today on Facebook and also put it on my YouTube page. Now, a lot of people have been saying, don't throw your pumpkins in your black bin. Now, my black bin actually gets emptied tomorrow on a Tuesday in my hometown. They're saying leave it out for the animals. You know, it's great for animals, it's great for your wildlife and everything. And one of the things I've always done with my pumpkins is I've kept the seeds and I've dried them. And this year, I actually grew my own pumpkin for my children in their granddad's garden. It was still green. It wasn't how they would have liked it to be. It wasn't a great big orange thing like out of Cinderella. But that's my little one. But I've kept the seeds again from this year. I've also kept a lot of the pulp. And what I will be doing with that pulp is I will be using it as stock for stews. So I've took it out. I'll put it in the blender later on today. I've not done that yet. And then I'm going to look at freezing it. Now, I've just been glancing through this porridge book because I want to be prepared. I really, really want to hit the ground running with this book first thing Monday morning. And one of the things I've come across, so if anyone's interested, it's called Porridge and Oats, and there are many health benefits by Margaret Briggs. Okay, the ISBN number for this book is 978-1-86147-069-0. Now, personally, I can't remember where I got this book from. It does retail at $6.99. Now, this isn't. I'm not getting paid to do this. I want to make this very clear. This is not a paid endorsement. Okay, this is just me blogging about me trying to be more healthy and trying to support people in doing so. So, under no circumstances, when this blog currently will be posted, am I being paid. Now, on page 57 of this, I mean, I may have got this book from a charity shop. I don't know. I apologise if I did to Margaret. But anyway, on page 57, it clearly says pumpkin face mask. So, for those of you out there, that's just my timer. It'll go off in a minute. Who are looking at things you could possibly do with your pumpkin. Other than just put it on your head and wear it as a Halloween costume, which has been and gone now, is you could use it to make a pumpkin face mask. Now, the things it's actually advising through Margaret Briggs' recipe that you could use to make this pumpkin face mask are a pumpkin, pineapple, oats, because again it's a porridge book, almonds, milk, honey, which if you're vegan, you wouldn't want to be putting honey in any of your products, olive oil, and 2 drops of rose geranium essential oil. I suppose that's just to give it that extra sort of smell, make it smell nice. I don't really know what pumpkin would smell like on my face, but one of the things it does say is that pumpkins are full of beta-carotene. So basically, that's the same stuff I believe that is in anything that's orange. So your carrots, your butternut squashes, possibly in tomatoes, maybe in beetroot. I know they're not orange, but I think, again, beta-carotene, I've heard it used a few times. So it might be worth Googling it and finding out what beta-carotene is. But basically, it's a good source of vitamin A. So again, research A. What is A good for? Again, like with anything you take, even if it's supplements, make sure you research them first. Don't just jump on the bandwagon and because everybody else is doing it, I should be doing it. Because any medical trial or anything you do, usually you would be advised to see your doctor. It's not always one shoe fits all, as ladies are probably aware. As much as I would love to wear fancy shoes all day, it's not going to happen. So it has vitamin A in it, which is supposed to be really good. And then obviously it describes how to make the mask. Like with anything, I would recommend that if you were to make too much of this product, 3-day shelf life. If you don't use it within 3 days, recycle it. Because it's all mainly food, it's compostable. And I would say that's one of the positive things about it. Do you realistically need all of these items to make this mask? I personally would say no. I mean, pineapple, to me personally, is out of season now, so it's not something that I would be endorsing or be looking at buying at this time of year. Again, almonds, there's a bit of bone and contention around almonds at the moment. Again, if you're vegan, you're not going to be wanting to put almonds in anything because of the cost of how almonds are produced within California. I've been reading a lot about that lately. Honey, again, is another thing. Olive oil, olives, unless they're, again, produced in the UK, they're being flying in. So anything, if you're trying to look at reducing your carbon footprint, which I know a lot of people are trying to get into, you're probably going to be looking at saying, well, okay, it's on the shelf, I'll buy it. But at the same time, you have to think to yourself, okay, it's already in the shop, but what was the carbon footprint? What damage has there been, apart from to the economy? Because obviously, if you're buying pineapples and almonds and olives, you are sustaining an economy, you're putting money into people's pockets overseas who obviously need jobs to support their own family and their lifestyle. But at the same time, if you're like myself, I do buy olive oil, I do buy olives, I do buy honey. But at the same time, I'm more inclined to buy things if they're made in the UK or manufactured in the UK. So I am aware of my own effect on the environment. But again, it's personal choice. I personally, although I think this would make a lovely face pack, I think I'm going to probably look at changing this ingredients in this. And I am going to look at just maybe using the porridge oats with the pumpkin. Because the main point of this study is porridge oats itself, so to take them out would just be useless and not beneficial for the study I'm actually doing for myself and for people to observe me making myself into an idiot. But yeah, so I would be more than happy to use the pumpkin because obviously it's one I've homegrown myself, so again it's in the book, so I will do it. But personally, I may alter some of the recipes that are in here, especially if I think they conflict or if I'm allergic to certain foods, which I'm not. But again, if I'm going to be saying to someone, you must stick to this ingredients, you must do what it says on here, it's a guideline. Okay, just because you've got a headache doesn't mean you have to take paracetamol or aspirin. There is other recipes out there or other treatment that you could try. And it's the same, I always say to people when they go to see their doctor about anything, it's guidelines. Just because your doctor has told you to take something doesn't mean that you do have to or that you should. Okay, they are advising you. I mean, I've had it in the past where, I've been told, oh, take this and I've thought to myself, actually, I don't really need to take that. And I haven't, and I'm still here. I'm not saying don't take the medication, I'm just saying be aware. At the moment, we're still in the UK, we're still in the EU. Brexit hasn't been finalised, had to get that in there. that in America and places where they don't have the NHS, the pharmaceutical companies, big money. So the more drugs they can shove down people's throat, more money they make. And I do worry at times that sometimes the NHS is going a little bit that way due to privatisation. But anyway, that is a totally different subject. So, like I said, with this book, page 57, pumpkin face masks. So if anyone's thinking of making a face mask with their leftover pumpkin, by all means, try and stick to the ingredients that's in the book. It's obviously been tried and tested, so it works. You know, I wouldn't recommend using it every day. Probably once a week would be healthy enough. Again, I'm not a qualified homeopathist or, you know, doctor or anything like that. I'm just a stay-at-home mum. So just like most of you, I read the magazines, I look at stuff online, and a lot of it is trial and error. So I personally, like I said, I will probably look at altering the ingredients slightly, but that's just for my own personal choice. As like I keep saying to people, that's one thing that we're very lucky to still have in today's society, is the choice to say no. And I do believe that being British, we don't say no enough. And I think if we did, then the economy that we live in and the society we live in would be very different today. Because I think as being British, we are kind of taught that you don't say no. No, you can't say no. How dare you say no? It's wrong to say no. So anyway, on that note, I'm just going to say thank you very much. And please, 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 remember, I am not being paid for any of this. I'm not one of these fortunate people on YouTube that's making £1 million a year because of all these hits I keep getting. I think I've got about 14 subscribers so far. So if anyone obviously wants to subscribe to my YouTube page or is interested in this crazy redhead woman who on occasions blogs about random stuff on YouTube, on her Facebook pages, on social media, then please just click a like, whatever. It'd be nice to get some feedback. I have had some in the past, some constructive criticism, but it'd be nice, you know, because I am looking at going back to work. I am looking at self-employment. I am a stay-at-home mum at the moment, so I'm just sort of trying out different things to see what would work and what wouldn't. Thank you.